important people here? Because people is, you know, maybe it's the thing that most of the people point out from Serbia.
Yeah. Well, Novi Sad is a really sweet town, and the people here, they come from all over the world, so different people, but the energy is very high, people want to be here, and it looks like it's a beautiful time of the year to be here as well.
Yeah, perfect. So is your first time here in Novi Sad?
First time in Novi Sad, yeah.
Okay. Ovaj posao je u Srbiji jako popularan tek sada, kako je on se odlučio na taj korak pre više od 2 decenije?
Yeah, since your job, like the things correlated to your job are pretty new in Serbia, let's say, and you're in this field for like over than 2 decades. Yeah. So how would you like break this taboo, and what do you think is most important for Serbia at this beginning of this process?
I think when anyone is at the beginning stages of their growth journey, it's important just to ask meaningful questions about their lives, and then look at the areas of their lives that are maybe a little difficult, and look at the habits that are associated, the practices, the everyday, daily practices that are associated with those difficult parts of their life, and then say, what can I do different? Just one thing. What's one thing I can do differently? Is it maybe getting up a little earlier? Is it maybe smoking less cigarettes? Is it maybe drinking more water? Is it maybe spending a little more time with better people? People that are on a health path like me. So those questions are really important. And the second part is the last thing that I said. Spend time with people that share similar values around who you're becoming, not who you've been. So that's a good starting point.
Yeah, definitely it will be a long process for people in the Balkans generally. Yeah. But as you said, these small steps is in all the fields. Like for example, if we use the reusable bottle of water every time, you know, if you multiply it with 1 million people, it can be a big difference. So do you think that we should focus more on these dramatic changes, or on this, as you said, small everyday changes that will multiply?
Small everyday changes within the self, within the individual, are more accessible. When we think really big, like we want to save the ocean or we want to change 1 million lives in the Balkans, it's a beautiful, ambitious dream, and it's respectable. And you have to start with self. You've got to build the body where you can tolerate the difficulties that will come with trying to elicit deeper change in the world.
Exactly.
Da se bavi izlečenjem duše, da li ga je neka životna priča iznenadila da nije ni on znao kako da reaguje u prvom trenutku?
Yeah. Were there any situations, because you're literally healing the soul, were there any situations where you couldn't like find a solution, or that were maybe more challenging than?
Yeah, there are times where people have a clinical diagnosis that is very intense, such as a personality disorder, schizophrenia, multiple personality disorder, something even more intense than that, where sometimes pharmacological intervention and psychiatric intervention is very much necessary. Those are rare cases, but they do occur. The thing is, when people are willing to change, most of the time it's very accessible and possible, but they have to be willing to change.
Yeah.
They need to want to do it.
Yeah. And what do you think Serbian people can do in order to open to start changes?
So look at the daily habits. Look and make sure that there are more healthy daily habits than unhealthy. So again, if you're not exercising, maybe start exercising. If you're not reading any new information or learning anything new, learn something new. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be about psychology or about human relationships or love or past trauma. It can be anything you're interested in. Start a hobby. Begin to fill your life with activities and experiences that are meaningful, that are actually valuable to you, and you're not just doing something because everyone else is doing it. That's also a good starting point.
Da li ima neku potrebu za nekim stručnjakom, da priča nekim stručnjakom s obzirom da se bavi teškim životnim pričama?
Yeah, since a lot of people come to you and talk to you, do you also talk to some, let's say, more experienced experts in this field so you can learn and update, let's say?
I'm constantly learning. I don't think I know everything. In fact, I definitely don't. And so I very much rely on other experts, other peers and other colleagues for their input, for the way that they see the world, for their programs, their modalities, their models, their frameworks, the way they think. I'm constantly wanting to learn from other people that are fantastic at what they do, so I can be better. For the people that I work with, yeah.
Exactly, and definitely you learn from the people that you work with on a daily basis.
Man, I often say to my clients, I feel very blessed and very lucky. I feel I'm learning more from you than I'm teaching you, just by how they show up in their courage. And because it requires a lot of courage to be able to move through deep challenge, especially when they've held on to that for so many years.
Yeah, and do you have maybe like examples when you become friends with some of your clients?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a perfect example is this woman here, right next to us. And to be honest, there are many of my clients that I do become friends with because I'm not a clinical psychologist, I'm not a counselor or a therapist, I'm a coach. I do have a degree in psychology, my background's in behavioral science and trauma, but the angle or the position I take is as coach. And so when I get to know someone so intimately and so deeply, it doesn't happen with every person, but sometimes you just meet people and you naturally just bond and become friends after a period of time. So that can be a common occurrence in my field, yes.
Like how difficult is to make this distinction between personal, private life and the working?
Over the years, I would say I've become very proficient at creating lines and drawing boundaries because I have to. And at the beginning, it was more challenging. But again, I've been in this for over 2 decades. So over time, it's become a lot easier. And as long as people are communicating very clearly and I'm aware of myself and the client-coach relationship dynamic, everything usually turns out very well.
Perfect. What do you think, like in general, how the process in Serbia will go about this specific?
Yeah, the short answer is I don't know.
Yeah.
But I am hopeful, and I'll tell you why. Because when I talk to people, and I only am surveying a small amount of people, of course, I hear people are willing and hungry for something else. They're hungry to grow. They're hungry to learn. And when you have enough people, you don't have to have the whole population. When you have enough people, it moves into a critical mass and it changes the culture of a society. And so I'm confident that if people really want that, it can happen here.
Perfect. Do you have any other questions? Perfect. Thank you for the time, for effort. Enjoy Novi Sad, enjoy Serbia, and hope to see you next year again.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.